Hi friends, welcome back. This is Sri Hari from NRI Samay. We will be talking about fluorosis problem and a person who has been working hard to help the people who are hit by the fluorosis in Nalgonda District. So that is Pranamya Suri. She is in the studio with us. Hi, good morning Pranamya.
Good morning. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk about this problem.
Oh, it's our pleasure, and we appreciate the work that you are doing, and we would like to introduce to our audience about what you have been doing. So, can you tell us the seriousness of the fluorosis problem in that you are trying to help with?
Yeah, actually, according to the World Health Organization, if you have fluoride levels in the groundwater that cross 4 ppm, so 4 parts per million, and consumption of this groundwater over a period of time leads to skeletal deformities. So I'm sure everybody knows about this in Nalgonda. This has been happening for so many decades. That you see people that are unable to walk, and you see accelerated aging. So somebody who should be getting arthritis at a later age usually gets arthritis before they're 30, and also they have problems with their teeth. They have dental and skeletal fluorosis. Those are the major problem, and it's not just the physical deformities that is the concern here. The fact that because of the physical deformities, people are unable to work, and it kind of creates a cycle of poverty. So that's the bigger impact that has been happening over the bigger generations. So that's the problem, and it's a really harmful thing for people. I mean, obviously, we're not supposed to be taking in so much of fluoride, so that's the big problem over there.
Okay. So you said for the past few decades, so do you know what happened that has increased the fluoride content in the water?
Actually, nothing really has happened. It's natural occurring fluoride in the water, in the groundwater, and everybody knows that in Nalgonda we have a water problem, a water shortage problem, and in the groundwater that's available, people usually have the bore wells, and they have the wells in the village. That's the only source of clean drinking water that they have. And even this water has been contaminated by fluoride and also by other contaminants. That's not the only ion in the water that's harmful. They also have, even the color of the water is really cloudy and discolored. So consumption of that, and our bodies are made up of 70% of water, so consumption of that over time leads to debilitating problems.
Right. Yeah, I saw some pictures and of the people who are hit by the fluorosis, and it is very disheartening.
Yeah.
I can't imagine them going to the work and maybe even in the agriculture or to a normal job. So I can't imagine how they would cope up with this. So how did are you from Nalgonda District, or how did you get introduced to this one?
Actually, yeah, I'm not from Nalgonda. We don't have any family or anyone. I was born in Hyderabad, and we moved to the U.S. when I was very young, but my entire family is in Hyderabad. We don't have any connection with Nalgonda. But actually, in one of my visits to India, I was, just looking on going shopping, and I came across the site of this man who was, suffering from the skeletal fluorosis, and then I asked my parents, what is it, got to know more about it. And then I've always wanted to do something for India, so after a lot of research and working with some Harvard professors and identifying, what are the types of problems that we face globally, I narrowed down that this water problem in Nalgonda has been there for so many decades, and nothing really has been done to solve it. Not much has been done to solve it. So that's why I chose this project.
Okay, that's great. I think in the past 1 or 2 years, the awareness has been increased, and more and more people are talking about it and talking about the solutions. So, can you tell us how you are tackling this? I know you are providing clean water, but you are in US, and what is your team like, and how does it work?
Okay. Well, basically, I mean, if we look at problems like this, clean water, clean drinking water is one of the basic essentials to life. And it really broke my heart to see, our country, we all belong to the same country, and we all left it behind, and we came here, and we're having our own lives here. But it really broke my heart to see that even in this century and in this day and age, people back in India are suffering from something so basic such as clean drinking water. So that's basically what kind of triggered my interest, and my passion towards working towards this. And the way that we kind of went on this approach was we contacted a couple of manufacturers, and we worked along with them to come up with the correct solution. And we decided that reverse osmosis technology that was actually imported from the U.S. was the best way to tackle this problem. And it's actually a membrane, or I'm sure everybody knows what osmosis is, but it's actually a semi-permeable membrane that removes all the contaminants, including bacteria, other ions that are harmful that are in the water. And what we get as the end product is the pure mineral water that, anybody drinks when we go to India. The Kinley bottles, that's the end product. So what we are doing is we are raising funds, and I have raised funds through organizing a dance performance because I'm also a Kuchipudi dancer, and also by the help of several donors who have been extremely kind and generous. And we collected the amount, and I actually had the privilege of going to India personally, meeting with these villagers, traveling to Nalgonda for the first time in my life, and setting up the plant, installing it, inaugurating it, and spending some time with them, learning more about our country. And it was a life-changing experience, honestly. So that's how we kind of went about the project.
Okay. So when did you go to India, and when you went there actually to the Nalgonda people, and you met with them and you spoke with them, can you tell us one example of when you interacted with somebody, and how was the conversation like? What were they saying to you?
Yeah, sure. Actually, I started working on this project from 2008, and I think from 2009 we started becoming more active. I started the research and basically like the desktop survey and collecting all the information started in 2008, and then 2009 it became more active in terms of fundraising and materializing the project plan. And in 2010, May 2010, I went to India, and the thing that really touched me was that it took us about 7 hours from Hyderabad, and the places that we went to in Nalgonda were not just, near the city. They were extremely remote and extremely interior. So we're talking about tribal communities over here. And it took about 7 hours to go there, and it was past lunchtime, 2 o'clock, extremely hot. Everybody knows what Nalgonda sun is like, and, it looked like a movie setting, cracked earth, blazing sun, and the entire village was there to greet us, and it just really touched me. And I just thought at that 1 second, imagine the amount of pain that these people must be facing to ask, like, a little kid, I was a kid then, I was not even 21, to ask somebody like me that, that they needed help with something like water. And that was one of the conversations that I was having with one of the village heads that came and asked me to, install a plant in his village also. He asked me for help, and it just really broke my heart, but at the same time it made me very thankful for being, able to do something small for my country.
Yeah. So it must be a pretty moving experience, especially because you are so young, and you were talking with other kids, and they're asking for help.
Yeah.
So how did you bring that back here? And actually, I would like to know, you must have some team in India too, right, that are helping you making things happen in India?
Well, not really. I mean, it was basically like a personal effort from my family. My dad, Vasan Suri, and my mother, Shilata Suri, and my sister, Pranamya Suri, and this was our family project. So, we all did this together, and we coordinated with India. Then I went to India, and we kind of handled it, within the family. So that was and it's a nice thing too, because it kind of is what keeps our family like active, and we have a different sort of bond, because we do things like this, other community activities like this a lot. So this was basically a family-driven effort, if you could say. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you convince your parents, and how much you probably put a lot of your personal time and also money too, right?
Yeah, it was for a good cause. So my parents were extremely supportive from the beginning. Like I said, we have been doing fundraisers. We did, like I said, we are Kuchipudi dancers, and my mother has a school, Natyanjali Kuchipudi Dance School. It's a extremely well-established institution in Dallas. So through that, we have done several fundraisers for the AP flood relief and the tsunami victims and things like that. So we're, any good cause, we all jump in, and we all have high spirits, and, we do stuff like this. So for this project, because it was, we're having direct interaction with India, and it's not through any organization, everybody was even more motivated and even more spirited to do this. So it wasn't really convincing. I think the only convincing point that I had to tell them was that I had to go to India alone. So that was probably the only thing that. But apart from that, it was a big team effort.
Okay, that's excellent. So you mentioned about you are a Kuchipudi dancer, and actually I saw some videos and pictures online. So and one of our team members in NRI Samay, she's Usha Revali. She was telling that her mother and your mother were, I think, dancing together at some point, and how inspirational her story was to her. So it's a pretty small world when we're thinking about it. Yesterday we were talking about it.
Yeah. Actually, the Kuchipudi family is extremely tightly connected, and it's not even like just a group of dancers. It's actually like a big family. We all connect on a different level, and actually today's the 13th day of the passing away of the biggest legends of Kuchipudi, Dr. Padmabhushan Venkatesha Satyam. So from the behalf of our family, I would also like to take a minute to in his spirit, would like to convey regards to him and his family and what he has done for our art, and hope that our generation of our Kuchipudi dancers and students keep up the spirit and the divinity of dance that he has held up for so many years. So.
Yeah, excellent. Well said. And so, talking about Kuchipudi a little bit more. It's one of the proudest thing for Andhra Pradesh, because it's the most popular art form that our state has given to this world. And how do you see the response of the general public towards this art?
Well, unfortunately, we are in a changing day and time, and more importance is given to semi-classical dances or movies. So there is that trend. I mean, we know that Kuchipudi will survive in the future. It's just a matter of how. So we have to remember, to keep up the classical part of it instead of making it more semi-classicals. And that depends on the audience. That depends on the support of the organizers. This is an art that has been there for so many centuries. I mean, it's been there from thousands of years. And this should be our pride. Apart from our culture and society and everything like that, we have to remember where we came from and what we stand for. So it depends on the organizations, the people involved in the organizations, the youth who are willing to, take this to and transcend the borders of this, Americanized culture and keep up the spirit of our tradition and values. So, yeah, there's a bittersweetness to it. We have people that are part of the previous generation that embrace this art more. But unfortunately, in today's day and age, we see the trend going towards, semi-classical, Bollywood, Tollywood. But we really have to think and ask ourselves, is this really what our culture is all about? So,
right. And things are changing so rapidly in the last maybe 20, 30 years. There's a lot of westernization and so when people talk about Indian dance, generally they are talking about Bollywood now.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but I see a lot of more than in India, in Andhra Pradesh. I think there's a lot of enthusiasm in the younger kids about classical music and also classical dance. Have you seen that here?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, see, for us, for a lot of kids here, dance is not just an extracurricular activity. It's actually like a part of life. I mean, it's integrated into our lives so much at home, in the temples, and we have that push from our family to, remember our traditions and culture. So, it really depends on the family, the parents, and the community, the type of organizations, friends, and everything like that. But, yeah, I mean, I definitely see that from, communities here than back in India. So it's nice, I think it's really nice what dance schools and music schools and some local organizations and national organizations are doing to promote it. But more would definitely be better.
Okay, yeah.
But you should also remember about the quality of the art. I mean, Kuchipudi is unfortunately an extremely hard dance form to master. So, we have to remember the quality of the art and even more like I said, the divinity of it. This is not something that we do to get awards or, to get on stage and perform. That's not what it's about. It's always about really immersing yourself in it, becoming involved, and making it a part of your life. I mean, you have to live, eat, breathe, drink. Everything you do has to be dance. So that's what it's really about.
So this runs in your family, right? Because you mentioned about your mom, Srilata, but your grandmother also was the dancer. Is that right?
Yeah, actually, Premalata Kandalam, and she actually had the fortune of presenting in front of the first president of India, Rajendra Prasad.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, she's the person who kind of, with her passion and her enthusiasm and her talent, she was an extremely amazing dancer. So she kind of passed it on to my mom and my aunt, Sumalata. So my mom and her sister used to dance at Padma Shri Dr. Shobha Naidu's Academy in Hyderabad. And then now, whatever little I know today is because of my mom. And we're taking it to the next level, I guess, in the next generation. So it's really nice to have that within the family, because it's really hard for somebody who is just starting to learn about dance to have that outlook and that vision. I guess it's a really big blessing to have your mother and your grandmother and my aunt and my other aunt and my dad's niece and everybody who, we connect on a different level. So.
One of our team members, as I mentioned, she's Usha Turugarevalli. She has danced with your mother Srilata at Kuchipudi Art Academy. So she wanted me to convey that message.
Sure, I will. I think my mom should be listening, so yeah. Sure, that'd be great.
Okay, and so I would imagine that you got the inspiration from your family itself for the dancing, but the social awareness and how you connect with, you mentioned about, obviously we're talking about the fluorosis problem, but you also mentioned about the flooding and how you raise the money. Where did that inspiration come for you? From your family or anything outside also you look that inspires you?
Well, actually, the thing is, my mom's father was back in the day, my grandfather, used to do a lot of things for people to really help them out. So I think that runs in the family, to want to help out and stuff. So I always used to take my grandfather as an example and try to live up to even a fraction of what he was. And obviously, my dad and my mom, it was from when I was little, they always used to focus my interest on the other person rather than, doing something for yourself. So we used to do small projects like taking all the clothes that I have grown out of, sewing them up and then going and distributing it in the community back when I was maybe 6 or 7 when I was in India. So we would do small projects like that. And then the AP flood relief, actually my mom had a ballet composed from scratch. We did Meera, the life story of Meera, and Jay Kishore Muslikanti, along with my mother, have composed that ballet, and we used that instead of a school production, we used it as a fundraiser, and we were able to raise a significant amount to give to the flood relief victims. And also recently we did a Jagadananda Karika about the Sampurna Ramayana. Basically, that's what it is about. And we gave the funds to Vidya Danam, and we raised about, I think, $40,000 to $50,000 with that. So that's how we're involved in the community. And actually, just recently, we have formed, a couple of years back, we formed a non-profit organization, Echeos of India. So that's basically what we're channeling all our efforts through, Echeos of India.
Are these obviously the Kuchipudi is an art, and what you're doing is also social service. Do they go together, or is it hard to mix them both? Because not many people does it. I mean, we know there are some concerts where the artists come and perform for free, but to organize, the organizers are generally different, but you are actually doing them both. Is it easy to go with both of them, or is it really two different things for you?
Well, actually, fundraising through dance was my mom's idea, and I'm proud to say that we were the first ones in Dallas, and probably the first ones in, one of the first ones in the U.S. to do something like that, to have a fundraising concept through dance. And, yeah, I mean, right now it gets a little bit challenging, but at the same time, I think it's one of the best methods to fundraise because it's appealing to people. It's like you're you're basically doing two things at once. You're creating awareness of the problem, and also you're showcasing dance. So I think it's a really unique concept to our school.
Yeah, and I hope it helps both. I hope it helps both the future of the dance and also the the social causes. I'll tell you one example. The reason I asked that is, sorry, go ahead.
And that's actually one of the concepts behind our nonprofit organization, Echeos of India, is that we wanted to do, we wanted to create awareness to social problems such as this Nalgonda problem, and also the upcoming one that we are thinking about doing. We are doing right now in the process of is to establish a rural health hospital in Kuchpudi village along with maybe a couple of other rural villages. And it's a really unique concept. So, and we also wanted to create awareness of classical arts, and we have several different aims of Echoes of India, but that's the uniqueness about our organization is that we tie the arts along with proper cause.
Okay, excellent. The reason I brought up that question was serving the art in itself is a great thing, and just working on social issues is other great thing. But a lot of times people either stick to one or the other. For example, I went to I live in Los Angeles, so there's a local person who needed bone marrow. So they were asking for volunteers to come up and give the DNA test, and then they determine whether they would fit or not. So it was organized at a temple or an auditorium kind of place, and at the same time there was a guru who came, and he was talking about good things and how people should live a better life, that kind of thing. So these were kind of next to each other. So I knew about the bone marrow, so I went there. I gave my sample. They've been sitting there for about 7 or 8 hours, and they had 4 volunteers who came and gave the sample. And right next to it, there's this guru who is talking about all the good things. There are 200 people right there. I'm thinking, you walk past through these guys, but you don't have conscious just to give your sample, and maybe they call you after that, right? So this is how much divided we are. Either we are focused on one thing and we completely forget about the other part of it. So it's hard to mix two things, and what you are doing is extremely great.
Thank you. I mean, I'm just doing something very small. I still have a lot more that I want to do, and a lot more in our plate right now that we are trying to work on. So taking it one step at a time. But yeah,
okay.
It's all about applying what you have learned. I mean, that's the greatness about Hinduism, or even learning anything. In fact, it's not just reading a textbook or reading something out of the Gita or Mahabharatam or Ramayana. It's not just about reading that. It's actually about implementing it. So that's
right,
the kind
exactly.
of, that's how I guess I try to give back, through Echoes of India. Just whatever that I have learned, whatever little that I know, just try to, give back to the community in some way.
Okay, great. I have some more questions, but one of our team members, he's from India. He is also with us on this radio show now. He would like to ask some questions. He might ask in Telugu. Tinku, you want to go from here?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity, sir. And Pranamya Suri garu, can I ask you one question in Telugu?
Yeah, sure.
ఇప్పుడు మనం ఆస్ట్రేలియాతో పోల్చుకుంటే ఇప్పుడు ఆస్ట్రేలియా చూసినట్టయితే 13.5 ppm ఫ్లోరైడ్ ఉన్న ఫ్లోరోసిస్ జాడలు లేకపోవడం చాలా ఆశ్చర్యంగా అనిపిస్తుంది. కానీ మన భారతదేశంలో తీసుకున్నట్టయితే 6 నుంచి 8% వరకే ఉంది. సో ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ ఇంత తీవ్రంగా ఇటువంటి వ్యాధిగ్రస్తులను చూస్తున్నామంటే లైక్ మనం చూస్తున్నట్టయితే కనీసం వాళ్ళు చేసిన పాపం ఏందో కూడా వాళ్ళకి తెలియదు. అంటే మన కరప్టెడ్ ఇండియాలో పుట్టి అది మన ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ నల్గొండ జిల్లాలో పుట్టడమే వాళ్ళ దౌర్భాగ్యంగా మనం చూసుకోవచ్చు. సో కంపేర్ టు ఆస్ట్రేలియా అండ్ అవర్ ఇండియా ఇన్ ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ అసలు ఏం చేస్తే ఈ ఫ్లోరోసిస్ ని తగ్గించేస్తాను మీరు అనుకుంటున్నారు? అంటే మనం జస్ట్ ఇలా చర్యలు చేస్తే ఈ ప్రభుత్వం ఇటువంటి చర్యలు చేసి ఈ ఫ్లోరోసిస్ నుంచి కొంచెం ఉపశమనం లభించేలా చేయొచ్చు అని మీరు అనుకుంటున్నారు?
అంటే ఇప్పుడు మీరు are you talking about like the solution apart from water purification or
whatever ఇది ఫ్లోరోసిస్ అనేది కేవలం ఫ్లోరోసిస్ అనేది కేవలం వాటర్ తోనే రాదు కదండి. సో ఇది వాతావరణం నుంచి కానీ లేకపోతే గాలి నుంచి కానీ. సో ఈ 1937లో చేసిన నివేదిక ప్రకారమే ఈ ప్రభుత్వం ఇప్పటికీ పరిగణిస్తుంది నీటి వల్లనే ఈ ఫ్లోరోసిస్ అనేది వస్తుంది అనేసి. కానీ చాలా వాటి వల్ల పౌష్టికాహారం కావచ్చు, ఇటు వాతావరణం కావచ్చు, వీటిపైన ప్రత్యేకమైన దృష్టి అనేది కేంద్రీకరించలేకపోతుంది మన ప్రభుత్వం. సో వీటిపైన మన ప్రభుత్వం ఎటువంటి చర్యలు తీసుకుంటే, అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఆస్ట్రేలియాలో అంటే చాలా వరకు 13.5% ppm ఆఫ్ ఫ్లోరైడ్ ఉంది. కానీ మన దేశంలో 6 నుంచి 8% వరకే ఉంది. సో దానికి దీనికి వ్యత్యాసం సగానికి పైగా ఉంది. కానీ మన భారతదేశంలోనే ఎక్కువ మంది అంటే ఇలా అంగవైకల్యంతో కానీ లేకపోతే అసలు చెప్పుకునే స్థితిలో కూడా వాళ్ళు లేకపోతున్నారు. సో దానికి దీనికి కంపేర్ చేసుకుంటే మన ప్రభుత్వం ఎటువంటి చర్యలు చేపట్టాలనుకుంటారు?
అంటే ఇప్పుడు I think more people in India, we depend on the government to solve the problem for us. Maybe in Australia, the fluoride levels might be a bit larger, but there might be fewer people suffering from it. And also, we have to look at the diet. If Indians, chala mandi tea taagtamu, we also drink, we also use toothpaste with fluoride in it. Most of the toothpaste that we use has fluoride in it. So we have to look at toothpaste that is more Ayurvedic and that doesn't have fluoride in it. And we have to cut down tea consumption. Tea is one of the biggest sources of fluoride in diet. And also, if you take more calcium supplements, it kind of counteracts the skeletal fluorosis aspect of this problem. So calcium supplements and maintaining proper diet will really help to bring this problem down. But in Kantamanam, we have to create awareness for it. Not many people know about it. But even that's what several organizations and that's what we also try to do is to speak to them about cutting down tea, watching out for the toothpaste, and also for increased calcium consumption. So, but these are natural, geographical problems. This is not man-made due to industry or something. Unfortunately, the only thing that we can do is to eradicate the problem with the water or the diet. Yeah.
Okay, madam. ఇప్పుడు మనం చూసుకున్నట్టయితే 1945 నుంచి 1975 వరకు ఈ ఫ్లోరోసిస్ అనేది ఉన్నప్పటికీ అంత తీవ్ర రూపం దాల్చలేదు. కానీ 1975 నుంచి జరిగిన అసలు ఈ 4 ఏళ్లలో జరిగిన మార్పు ఏంటి? 1945 to 1975 నార్మల్ గా ఉంది. కానీ కొన్ని 4 ఏళ్ల సంవత్సరంలో దీన్ని పరిశీలిస్తే పౌష్టికాహారం ప్రాధాన్యం కూడా చాలా వరకు తగ్గిపోయింది. సో అంతకు ముందు నైజాం కాలంలో జస్ట్ ఒక మంచి ఫ్లోరైడ్ లేకపోతే వాళ్ళ ఆరోగ్య సమస్యలని దృష్టి పెట్టుకొని కానీ వీళ్ళు కొంతమందిని వాళ్ళ ప్రభుత్వమే నడిపించేదన్నమాట. కానీ ఇప్పుడు మాత్రం ఈ ప్రభుత్వం ఎందుకు పట్టించుకోలేదనుకుంటున్నారు? ఈ కరప్షన్ ఎక్కువ కావడం వలన లేకపోతే ఏ విధమైన చెప్పారు?
See, there's going to be corruption in anywhere we look. In today's day and age, there is corruption. But it's a matter of taking this into our own hands and solving it. So let's not depend on the government, to do something like this. It's our responsibility. If we see a problem, let's not wait for somebody else to solve it. Like, we have to take action and we have to do it. Maybe, this awareness has been increasing for the last decade and we know more about it. But there's no guarantee that people weren't suffering before that. I mean, I've heard about hundreds of petitions and this problem being there for so long, and also the movement of people to these, because of the development of cities, people are moving. Some people are getting displaced. So, and also there's an increase in population. So then that's why you have more people suffering from it.
మేడం, ఇప్పుడు చూసుకున్నట్టయితే మన నల్గొండ జిల్లాలో ఇప్పటి వరకు 1500 గ్రామాలకు పైగా గ్రామాలు ఉంటాయి. దాంట్లో 800కు పైగా ఫ్లోరోసిస్ బాధిన పడి ఉన్నాయన్నమాట. సో దాంట్లో మీరు చాలా వరకు 40,000 మందికి మీరు స్వచ్ఛందంగా ఒక ఫ్లోరోసిస్ రహిత నీటిని సరఫరా చేస్తున్నారు. So I'm really thankful for that from myself, నా తరపు నుండి. కానీ ఈ 800ని ఈ ప్రభుత్వం అంగీకరించడం లేదు. దీనికోసం సుప్రీంకోర్టు, హైకోర్టు కూడా మందలించడం జరిగింది, హైకోర్టు అనే మన ప్రభుత్వాన్ని. సో ఇంకా ఎటువంటి అంటే ప్రజల్లోని చైతన్యం రావడానికి ఇంకా ఎన్ని రోజులు పడుతుందంటారు? కనీసం మనం తాగే నీటిని కూడా వాళ్ళు స్వచ్ఛందంగా అందజేయలేకపోతున్నారు. సో ఇంకా ఎన్నాళ్ళు ఇది మనకి?
See, that's what we are working on. Actually, నేను లాస్ట్ టైం ఇండియా నుంచి వచ్చినప్పుడు, లాస్ట్ టైం నల్గొండకి వెళ్ళినప్పుడు వాళ్ళు అడిగారు ఇంకొక 5 plants కావాలి, so this entire mandal ఇప్పుడు it will be fluoride free. So that's, I'm working on it right now. So we have to, maybe because it's such a small organization right now, it's been only a couple of years since we have been, formed it. We need support of everybody in the community. We have to do this together. We all have to team up and do this together. Then we can see results faster. Let's not wait for the government or people back there to just wait for some answer. If we can do it, and several organizations have been doing it, if we all can team up and eradicate this problem, then we should do it. We should just work towards that goal.
Right. Thank you, Tinku.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
So, Pranamya, can you tell about, so you are setting up a reverse osmosis plant, right? Is that how you are testing?
Mm-hmm.
So, can you tell us what it takes to set up one and how much money it requires? I'm asking this because if somebody else wants to come up and do something like that, so if you can go step by step on how you identify a place and then who sets it up and how much it costs and what are the steps you need to follow up after that.
Okay. Well, basically the way that we identify a place is by sending out somebody to go personally and test the water. I mean, we get so many suggestions. I had so many people call me saying, can you do this in my village? Can you do this in my village? So we just take the contact information down and we go and get somebody to test the water and get the statistics and the demographics, how many people are there, whether they have a bore well and things like that. And then we, basically fundraise, and then we contact the manufacturer, and then we go there and install the plant. I mean, I've installed the plant myself. So that's the unique part about this project. We're not just sitting in the U.S. and, waiting for somebody in India to do it. We make sure that every dollar, every cent is going to the right cause, and I'm personally going there and making sure that everything is done the right way. And then for the maintenance of the plant, which is the other question that many people have, what we're doing is that we're selling each 20-liter can for 2 rupees. So each family, they might take like 1 or 2 20-liter cans per day. We're selling it for 2 rupees. So over a year, minus all the expenses of maintaining the plant or, buying new filters that have been worn out, each village is making about 50,000 rupees plus or minus. So they're using that money for either the maintenance of the plant or any problems that might come up, or sometimes even for smaller projects in the area. And the cost of the plant, well, I know that some organizations were saying that it would cost about $9,000 to do it, but we were able to do it for about $4,500, including the construction of the building to put the reverse osmosis plant. And this is a 1,000 liters per day capacity plant. So it serves about 5,000 people, 5,000 to 6,000 people in the village and the surrounding areas.
Okay, that's and how many plants were set up like that so far?
Well, I have set up 8 plants in 8 different villages, 4 in Chatlapally Mandal and 4 in Motkur.
Okay, that's so you're covering about 40,000 people, right?
Yeah, and sometimes there might be more too, because the surrounding villagers also come and get water from here. It's cheaper and it's, obviously it's a lot more healthier. So.
So this plant that you are talking about, who sells that, and is there any subsidy from the government?
No, there's no subsidy from the government. We have a manufacturer in India, and we personally went to the factory and worked with them in terms of how it should be constructed and what's the best way and how it works, and choosing the best type of like membrane. And like I said, the material is imported from the U.S., so we're making sure that they get the best. Reverse osmosis is the best way, best quality of purification system. So we're not compromising on that.
Right. So that's pretty good. You said you went there a few times. You said you went to Nalgonda in 2008 the first time, or 2009, and after that you went few other times.
Yeah, I went in 2010, and I went twice recently. Actually, no, I went 4 times recently in this India trip to set up the plants, inspect them and inspect the previous plants, making sure that everything is going well. And you can see the big change in people's, the way that they talk about their daily life and they talk about their problems. You see a huge difference. I remember when I visited the plant in 2012 that we have installed in 2010. I went back to that village to see how it's doing. It was kind of a surprise visit. So they were talking about, how it has drastically changed their lives. And, the entire village came again to greet us. And, it felt so homely, and it was a wonderful feeling. So, I really plan to make this bigger and bigger every year.
The water is next to air. Yeah. Next to air, water is the most consumed goods, and having a clean water, I think it must be like a blessing for them, what we all take for granted.
Yeah, exactly. We take it for granted, every single day, whether we're here or in India, we take it for granted. But, unfortunately, there are people that, not just in India, even in other countries too, that lack the basic necessities to life, such as water, whether it's education, whether it's healthcare. There's so many things that we can do. So, like I said, let's not wait for the government or, other organizations to do it. If we find a problem as a youth, it's our responsibility, and it should be our motivation to, the thing is, anybody can become, everybody's aiming to become the world-class doctor or, getting your PhD or anything like that, but the difference between the impossible and the incredible rests in a person's endurance and patience. So I've always believed, from our family and stuff, that apart from our, interests and strengths, academically and career-wise, being passionate about applying this knowledge that we have learned in all the years of growing up and in our career, and being a forward-thinking individual is essential in today's day and age. So that's basically kind of what my philosophy is in terms of community service or anything, in fact.
Yeah, that's great. One of the questions that we got online is, what is your memory? At what age did you move to US to begin with, and then what is your memory of your early either visit to India or when you were there?
I was actually not even 10 when I moved to the U.S. And, I remember India really well. I can remember things really well from when I was growing up. And I remember when I came here, like everybody, we have a little bit of a culture shock, in terms of adjusting. But my family was really good about keeping up the values and, celebrating our festivals in the same way. We used to do everything like that. And when I went back to India the first time, my first visit, I remember, my favorite memory was that my cousins I used to love Deepavali. That used to be my favorite thing to do. So they saved me a bunch of those crackers, and we spent the entire day in that. And yeah, it's been a while actually. I think I've went back when I was 12, so that was probably my favorite thing. It's no matter how many years you spend in the U.S., India is still your home. So that feeling of like when we go there, wake up early in the morning, it's unbeatable. So.
Right. Okay, that is excellent. I think we are coming towards the end of the show. I would like to ask you if somebody who is listening to the show would like to contribute in any way or form. Especially, so let's take an example. Somebody is in US. How can they contribute to this project? And if somebody is in India, maybe closer to Nalgonda, how can they volunteer?
Well, the best thing to do is to go to www.echosofindia.webs.com and register as a member over there. And there is a link to donate online through PayPal, or if you would like to mail a check, you can contact me through Facebook. I think everybody's on Facebook these days, so a lot of people actually contact me through Facebook. And another thing that we can do is that like I mentioned, we are in the process of establishing a rural health hospital. So that's also our upcoming project. So anybody who is willing to be a part of that can also contact me. I mean, we are trying to form a good team. So the best thing to do is to register online.
Okay, so when people register online, you contact them back?
Yeah, we contact them back, and then there's a small form in terms of what they would like to say. Like usually, if people want to donate something, there is a link online, and they just reply and say, yeah, I would like to donate so and so in the name of so and so.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, that's excellent. Would you like to say anything else before we wrap up the show?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to say that, although it might sound a little trite, the youth are the arsenal for the future. So it is our responsibility, especially at a time like this, to team up and be forward-thinking and be proactive in our society. And, let's not forget our roots. Let's not forget where we came from. Even if we were born here, we still go back to thousands of years of history. So let's not forget that. Keep our country in mind. And apart from our career and everything, let's have some passion and let's all try to do some sort of community service in a big global scale at some point in our life. So small things like that add up, and they make a huge difference to someone's life, a country, a state, even a global community. So that's basically what I have to say.
Okay, thank you very much, Pranamya, and we hope that your efforts will go in success and help more people.
Thank you, NRI Samay, for giving me this opportunity. Really appreciate it. Really honored to be on the show today.
Okay, it's our pleasure, and have a good day.
Thank you.
Friends, so that was Pranamya Suri, and we were talking about the fluorosis problem, and she also told us about her other involvements in arts, Kuchipudi, and it was a very great experience on the radio today. If you would like to contribute, go to webs.com, yes, and come back next week. We have incredible stories to share with you. Next week, we are bringing in some women who actually came to United States after they got married, and they are going to share the problems they encounter, especially from their husbands. So it's going to be an incredible show. next week. So please come back at same time, both Saturday and Sunday. Thanks, friends.